Yates, and welcome. Well, we've made it through the 20th year of the National Autism Conference. It's really been an honor to have everybody here. It was a very exciting week. I just want to thank a couple people. Laura Yates, where are you? There she is. Laura Yates, as I said in the opening, works tirelessly to pull this all together. She really is the backbone behind this conference, and her poor email account is constantly overloaded because of what it takes to get all the speakers from all over here. She doesn't do that alone, though. The staff at Penn State, here at the Penn State Conference Center, has been tremendously helpful, is always exceptionally organized and on top of things. So John Farris and crew, thank you. I don't know if they're here. Okay. Andy, I forgot your last name. I know you for 20 years and I forget your last name. Andy, take a bow. The technology always works because of Andy and his buddy Dirk, wherever Dirk is. Another group are the film people back here. They've been sending this conference to the whole world. Thank you. If Chris Cherney and Angela Kirby can stand up, please. These two people, turn around and take a bow, an official bow. They're the patent directors from Harrisburg who encourage us to do the work we do, and we couldn't do it without it. There's another group of people who you don't really get to see them too much, although you probably see them all the time, and that is the staff of the Children's Institute. I particularly want to point out Don Moss and Sherry Neely. They have been tireless in their support of the Children's Institute. They're all-stars, rock stars. They're back there. Hey, Sherry. Okay. There's so many people I could thank. I also am appreciative of all the patent people who have been here, making sure everybody's comfortable throughout the conference, and they've contributed so much to making this conference work. Thank you, my colleagues. Okay. The agenda says something about reports from administrators and school districts. I think we're going to get there with that, but I think we have a little special performance here. I think we need to end the conference on a lighter note. We are going to bring up two performers here, Guido and Luigi. Guido and Luigi are going to sing a song called We Can Pull It Off. By the way, their real names are Alex Marker and Joe Lynch. And if anybody was here at the play that was put on by the Children's Institute a little while ago, you get to see it twice. While we're doing this, this is made possible through the efforts of Cindy Schneider, and she has just worked tirelessly along with her entire staff to make sure this play is put on so artfully, with assistance from Susan March, Brenda Davidson, and Michelle Lynch. Excellent. And I also want to call attention to the technical consultant for this performance, which is Tyler Crossett. Tyler, take a bow. Without further ado, let me introduce Guido and Luigi. Come on up, guys.
Testing.
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 You ready, bro?
We are cunning, clever.
We've given this idea lots of thoughts.
For our plan really is quite simple.
And I hope that we don't get caught. For we are the Thalabuto brothers. We come from the Thalabuto clan. We're looking for lucrative employment anywhere we can.
He does like new fashion,
The latest trend that's hot.
a magic suit will bring the cash in.
And I hope that we don't get caught. The trick is believing in something that's not there. Our plans that deceiving take quite a bit of care. If he thinks that he sees what simply isn't there, I think we can pull it off. For we are the Farabuto brothers. We come from the Farabuto clan. We're looking for lucrative employment anywhere we can.
Singing clever,
We've given this idea lots of thought.
our plan really is quite simple.
And I hope we don't get caught.
I've given it lots of thought. I like a little flat.
I hope we don't get shot.
Oh, Mama would be so distraught.
My stomach's in a knot.
And I hope we don't get caught.
Guido and Luigi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex and Joe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was an honor.
In case you're wondering, that song's from The Emperor's New Clothes, and Guido and Luigi are sort of instrumental in helping the king come to a great realization about himself. The sort of theme of the show has to do with use of imagination, and I think it takes a lot of creativity to provide really good interventions for kids with autism and to care for kids with autism, including the imagination and creativity that comes from a solid base in technical skills as well, which I think that accomplishing that for students with autism is the result of things people do in schools. I want to introduce four very good people here. Crystal, come on up, guys. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to hear from four administrators, and what we're going to see is how evidence-based practices get put into place in public school systems. These four administrators were chosen because of their skills in being able to lead teams to a standard of performance that is so important for all the children we care about. And without further ado, I'm going to have Crystal come up and begin to tell us about work at the Middletown School District.
Good afternoon. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm really nervous. My two greatest fears are public speaking and the dentist, and I'd rather be at the dentist right now. I have had the pleasure and honor of working with the patent consultants in two different districts. I started with them as the director of special education in the Harrisburg City School District, and then when I switched jobs and went to the Middletown Area School District, one of the very first things I did there was fill out the application to get the supports in Middletown. I know we're going to press for time. In each of the autism support classrooms that we have in Middletown, you will see teachers using data to sequence their instruction. You'll also see clear teaching procedures that utilize reinforcement effectively. Our students within the district are seeing tremendous gains in the social skills that they're utilizing, their language skills, academic skills, and overall are enjoying a much greater quality of life. I often say that the successes of the autism support classrooms are not, it's not my doing. It comes from having a very supportive superintendent, building principals who are willing and involved and are, you know, will allow us to find those opportunities within the building to do different things with the kids. I have a tremendous staff. I have an internal coach who works tirelessly to make sure that everything is functioning as it should. Selfless teachers and paraprofessionals who, you know, despite the difficulty of their jobs, are at the bus every morning greeting the kids with a smile. And probably most importantly, we have engaged parents who entrust us with their children every day to do the best that we can for them, and so they're probably our greatest stakeholder. Hopefully this video you're about to see will give you a sense of what the autism support classrooms in the Middletown Area School District look like, and how the use of behavior analysis in those classrooms to teach communication skills is helping our students to make amazing progress.
By using the VB map to assess our students, plus guidance from the Autism Initiative consultants, we've been able to document significant and meaningful gains in our students' language, communication, and social behaviors. You should be ready for that? Okay, what's this? Good girl. The VB map enables us to see where each student has deficits, so we can develop individualized instruction for that student. Touch the caterpillar. Good touching the caterpillar. Since implementing these teaching strategies and suggestions from our consultants, our students have made incredible progress.
Oh, excellent.
You tap on that.
Oh, excellent.
You close the...
So 3 years ago, Cameron was having a lot of aggressive behaviors, hitting others, hitting himself. That has dramatically decreased. He has that occasionally now, but not nearly like before. Gets along much better with others. Socially, as far as peers go, that's improving as well. He used to just keep to himself and not really engage with other kids at all, or if they tried to play with him, he would just move away, do his own thing. And now he will play with other kids some. He used to not make eye contact with people, and he didn't have really any sounds that meant much of anything. He would make sounds, but they weren't actual words or, you know, intended words.
Phone, hammer, peanut butter, TV, crayons, fan, pizza, potato chips, pencil, letters, paintbrush.
And he's very good at understanding others too. He understands everything I tell him, everything his teacher tells him. So that the communication has been amazing.
What is this? What is this? What is this? House. What is this? Chair. What is this? Oh, good job.
Hi, my name is Lisa. I have an 8-year-old daughter, Mia, who attends one of the autistic support classrooms here in Reed Elementary. Mia is very familiar with the VB approach. When she was diagnosed at 2 years of age, we had a VB in-home program for her. She's actually transferred from a private school placement into the Reed Elementary, the VB classroom. One of the reasons we were most comfortable with her doing so is knowing that they were using the verbal behavior method and that all the great Patan folks were here in her classroom supporting that. I think that Mia really liked school. It was her first year at Reed last year. She really liked it, but this year she loves school. She's waiting at the door for the bus to pick her up.
Mia's good. Mia's good.
Mia, what are you doing this summer?
Summer mommy.
And where's Mommy taking you?
Mom take you Chrissy Park.
Good. Where else is Mommy taking you?
Mom take you Chrissy Park.
And where else? Hershey Park and
Swimming.
yeah.
She's made enough language-based gains, I think, from last year to this year that she's far more social this year. She's talking about the kids in her classroom by name this year. That's a big difference from last year. She's also really excited on the days that the Reed classroom goes on their community-based instruction or their trips out into the community. It's a really big component of this classroom for Mia. She loves the trips, she loves being out in the community, she loves the experiences, and she talks about those for weeks to come, requesting to go back to those places and being really excited about the days that she can. I think it also helps her work a little harder during the school day, knowing that she's going to be able to experience that trip either later in the day or later in the week. One of the greatest changes to see in Mia this year is her use of the word friends. She most definitely understands what a friend is. She's made friends this year, and it's a huge joy in her life, and it's a joy in our life as her parents.
Thank you.
Do you want to turn these for me, or do I just push this button right here? Okay. Mine just says PowerPoint. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Glue. I am a coordinator of special education in the western part of the state at Armstrong School District, where shift happens. I said shift. Notice there is an F in the term. We've taken a long journey at the Armstrong School District, moving from an eclectic to an evidence-based behavioral approach to autistic support. Our school district of approximately 5,000 students in very rural Armstrong County is about 45 miles northeast of Pittsburgh. And our 6 elementary schools and 2 junior-senior high schools are spread out over 430 square miles. As the prevalence of autism increased over the years nationwide and in our state here in Pennsylvania, our county and the Armstrong School District experienced a rise in the numbers of students meeting special education eligibility criteria for autism. And we had to determine how we were going to meet the education needs of our most vulnerable learners, for whom time is all too precious, as we know. Prior to becoming part of the Autism Initiative 3 years ago, we implemented an autistic support program for several years. Before that, our students with autism with the greatest language and communication needs were part of our life skills support program. Well, we finally recognized we had to do something different. So we started an autistic support program. It was down the hall from the life skills support classroom, and we were implementing similar functional and self-care strategies just in a different classroom. It was a struggle to find instructional practices that were effective. We had some of the teach methodology in place, but we also needed to gather more reliable data to develop targeted IEP goals and track progress better. We knew that. We did okay utilizing an eclectic approach. Actually, we did pretty well, thanks to our most gifted, experienced, outstanding special education teacher in our whole school district. And then she retired. We had organized the physical classroom space. We added a lot of visual supports and structure. But for some students, they were not only not making progress, they were exhibiting problematic and challenging behaviors that sometimes resulted in more restrictive out-of-district placements, farther from home, and also consuming already scarce district resources. As the LEA, I would attend those IEP meetings with our partner private academic and approved private school teams. I would hear the teams talking about VB-MAP data. The teams reviewed with the parents very specific milestones or skills across various levels, and effective teaching procedures such as intensive and errorless teaching were discussed. Our students were really making progress at places where there was participation in the Patan Autism Initiative. We thought back to the old adage, special education is not a place, it's a service. And after spending more time observing the AB principles at work, such as intensive teaching, discrete trials, and the use of reinforcement schedules, it became apparent that these procedures are portable. This can be learned and really done anywhere. I remember going back to my office after being so impressed following one IEP meeting that I got on the computer and I ordered packages of the VB-MAP protocols, and I dropped them off at our elementary school. I wasn't sure exactly what to do next. We were going through some staff turnover. Turnover is our worst enemy, especially when you're trying to implement something new. Next to turnover, building closures are quite an obstacle as well. Our autistic support program was at Katanning Township Elementary School for a few years before it was closed. So we moved to Shannock Valley Elementary. We were in 2 buildings and had 3 different autistic support teachers in 5 years, and there were changes in the speech and occupational positions as well. But this turned out to be a silver lining because these people, when they landed, comprise our effective team as it is now. In the spring of 2013, following some very challenging days, our school psychologist, Sharon Arbuckle, and our speech-language therapist, Sherry Sauer, ripped the wrappers off of VB-MAP protocols and said, we have a responsibility to do this for our students. Our teachers need better tools and staff development. They weren't going to feel or be effective with the students or satisfied with their roles if we did not get involved with the initiative and build some competencies. Well, we don't want to do something like it. We want to do it with fidelity, they said. Like Mike and Amira say, consistent implementation is only worthwhile if it results in meaningful student outcomes. Fidelity in ABA supports is like the apple in apple pie. We became part of the Autism Initiative in 2013. We completed our 3-day boot camp and we began our journey learning the basic principles of ABA and verbal behavior during the course of our on-site guided practice and monthly consultation visits. They'll love me for this, but this is our team. They were here yesterday presenting their integrated team approach, and they include our paraprofessional Melinda Seidler on the left, teacher Tricia Faust, internal coach and speech-language therapist Sherry Sauer, paraprofessional Sonia Freeberg, school psychologist Sharon Arbuckle, and the occupational therapist Laurie Stone. Paraprofessional Ashley Fleming, I believe, was taking the picture. Our internal coaches Sherry Sauer and Sharon Arbuckle were also so inspired by the success of our students as a result of the program that they went on for certification as BCBAs. They are now board-certified behavior analysts, and Sherry and Sharon, please stand up. They did this to me yesterday during their presentation. So congratulations to you both. Thank you for all you've done for our students. You've made a significant difference in their lives and leading the rest of the team members. Back to the students. The team collected VB map outcomes for the 5 students who've been part of the Autism Initiative for each of the first couple years. During the time since implementing, the number of milestones mastered by our students increased each year, and all of them made progress in social communication and functioning. All of them made gains beyond their estimated baseline rate of skill acquisition. One student in particular made especially noteworthy gains after beginning intensive instruction. Let's take a look at the VB map assessment data in the 3 areas, including milestones, barriers, and transitions. And I'm sure after the week you've learned a little more about these, and more than likely you're already very familiar with this assessment. The first part of the VB map we'll look at is the milestones assessment, which contains 170 milestones across 3 developmental levels and 16 verbal operants. The number of mastered milestones was nearly 440 in the fall of 2013 when we began implementation of the intensive teaching practices, reaching 726 through the spring of 2015. Students were making gains as a result of man training and intensive teaching in areas also including tacting, listener responding, imitation, social and play and academic skills, for example, including reading and math. Within the barriers assessment, we know there's about 24 factors believed to most often interfere with the acquisition of language skills development. By isolating these factors that impede a student's progress, we can then develop better targeted interventions to overcome the problems that come with defective demands and tax, behavior problems, self-stimulatory behavior, generalization and weak motivation, for example, which initially we saw a lot of all of these. In the fall of 2013, our team identified 277 total barriers. The number of specific barriers dropped to 221 by spring in 2015. The data was very reinforcing that our team was very reinforcing to our team members that their specific intervention strategies were indeed reducing barriers and clearing the way for more productive learning. Our third gauge of progress can be seen by the VB map transitions assessment data. A review of these results helps us determine how well a student can interact within a group and how sociable they may be with peers and to what extent challenging behaviors exist. The higher these numbers, the greater the indication students may be more prepared for lesser restrictive learning opportunities. This is one area that's really helped our school team shape IEP goals. But as Amir said this morning, results don't prescribe curriculum, but they do guide our instruction, and it's been very effective for us that way. Prior to intensive teaching or early fall in our first year, students' total transition was at 222, and that climbed to 263 by the spring of last year. One student in particular really exceeded our expectations. We'll call him Austin. That's not his real name, but Austin started out with 116 milestones, 57 barriers, and a score of 43 on transitions. At the time, his primary placement was learning support, where he was working unsuccessfully to acquire some very basic sight word and number recognition skills, and he struggled very much with challenging behaviors. You can see the list up there. And then if you look to the right on this slide, following a change to the autistic support program with the support and training from our Bataan consultants, our staff, the ones in the picture, effectively identified antecedents, planned responses to problem behavior, and implemented intensive teaching procedures. Austin's next VB map measure showed he had acquired 30 new milestones, and his barriers score dropped to 27. His transition score increased to 63, and problem behaviors were reduced to 0. Now, here's a summary of Austin's progress. Of course, it's impossible to attribute these gains to a single factor, and it definitely didn't happen overnight. And Austin still has some ups and downs, but we do know there's one common denominator associated with the growth experienced by all of our students, It boils down to the competencies learned by our team through the Patan Autism Initiative, including the intensive teaching procedures and incorporating the principles of ABA into quality instruction. We are, we'd like to add another autistic support classroom. We've applied. We've been so pleased with the results, and the needs of our students really warrant it that we've made application to get additional support for 3 more life skills support classrooms and another autistic support classroom. So we're really excited about that, and we're keeping our fingers crossed. And I thought I'd sneak a plug in since this guy next to me may have something to say about that. Okay, the team from Armstrong School District has hosted visitors from all over, intermediate units, other school districts, even those from Beijing, and we're proud that our model classroom may allow others to view and begin implementing the promising intensive teaching procedures our staff has learned as a result of ABA supports. And I think I've heard them say, for the adults, the greatest reward has been seeing their students learn new words, interacting more meaningfully with others, and being able to focus on task to a greater extent. With the systematic planning and effective instruction that's inherent with the Autism Initiative, our students enjoy greater success in their own home school, lesser restrictive settings, and they're enjoying access to meaningful general education curriculum, and this means meeting state core standards. So please don't leave here and go do something like it. They won't let you fail. Getting involved for everyone should not be a matter of if, but only when you do it. So go make shift happen. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick McBrady, and I am from Garden Spot School District, located in eastern Lancaster County. We are a small school district serving approximately 3,000 students with 5 schools, 1 high school, 1 middle school, and 3 elementary schools. In 2009, in response to parent requests and a need for better services for our students, and with the support of our school board and our superintendent, we opened our first verbal behavior classroom, ABA-supported classroom. Also, through many training hours with Patton and lots of coaching through the Patton team, our first classroom opened and it was pretty successful. We started with 1 teacher, 8 students, PCA support, and a behavior specialist. We consistently utilized evidence and research-based practices, which allowed us to see what was working and what needed to be modified for student programming. Within a few months, we documented growth in our students through skill development and our data. We received positive feedback immediately from parents, therapists, agencies, and the program was meeting the needs of our students. Oh, did I hit something? Okay. Elanco's ABA-supported classrooms were getting a lot of attention in the area and beyond. We started getting referrals from other districts, other counties, and even from other states. Parents were pleased with progress. Students were growing with skills that were continually noted through data and their growth. All decisions for programming were based on data, concrete interventions and strategies to support. Families started moving into the Elanco School District to secure a spot in the program for their child. Requests from 9 other neighboring districts for placement started, and our need for additional classrooms increased. Elanco developed a partnership with Millersville University to access student teachers who were training in special education. We received skilled, motivated professionals who were training and learning within our programs, and the benefits were in both our favors. As the program continued to grow, we needed to continue the same ABA supports and the services at the secondary level. In addition to our intensive teaching at the MAN training at the elementary level, we began to expand our supports and programming into the secondary levels. Additional social skills training through peer-to-peer manding occurred through increased access to groups, specials, clubs, and school-based activities at the middle school level. Personal care skills were developed. We focused on hygiene and independence through task analysis. We also focused on pre-vocational training through school jobs and also through training with task analysis. We also focused on self-advocacy and additional integration into the school setting and the environment with increased opportunity for independence skills, including access to the cafeteria and lockers and hallways and clubs and groups and sports at the middle school level. We then started to expand into the high school level with pre-vocational training through the PAYS program, vocational job assessment, job training in classrooms expanded into the community, transitional planning with a transition coordinator and outside agencies. We developed transition plans developed based on the student need, the current resources, and that's it. Okay. Currently, Elanco has 9 ABA-supported classrooms across 3 buildings, 5 elementary, 2 middle, and 2 high school classes. We serve 6 school districts, including our own. We serve 70 students ranging from kindergarten through 21 years old. Our current staffing is 9 highly qualified teachers, 40 trained PCAs, 3 speech therapists, 2 occupational therapists, 1 physical therapist, a district behavior specialist, and 1 special ed consultant. The trainings that we offer training, parent training monthly with child and sibling care, staffed by our teachers. We offer training for general education teachers, bus drivers, cafeteria, maintenance, everybody in the district. We outreach support to the sending districts, teachers, bus drivers, and parents. We offer QBS training and safety care for all staff. We offer in-home training for students and their parents to ensure generalization of skills from the classroom into the homes. We offer in-classroom training for parents who request it, who wanted to build their program at home. We offer training for staff and students returning home to their home districts after enough progress is made and they're ready to go back. We offer transitional training to those staff, those bus drivers, and those parents, teachers. We support student behavior to ensure continuity of care in daycare centers, after-school programs, wherever parents request the service. Our district is very generous in our support that we give to other settings that, so that kids can be continued success. We collaborate with parents, school district, therapists, community services, agencies, BSCs, TSS, psychiatrists, etc. We share our data collected at school so that decisions being made outside of our classroom are made with the student's best interest and not what people think is what's going on. And I wanted to give you an example of Robbie. Robbie was a student. He came to us in the fall of 2014. The reports indicated that Robbie had significant and interfering incidents of behavior occurring up to 100 times per day that included physical aggression and destruction of property, vocal aggression, profanity up to 200 times per day, elopement, self-injurious behaviors were also noted. Reports also noted that he had a remarkable level of franticness, going from 0 to 100 in seconds, seeming to go into flight or fight mode. Robbie was described as being in constant state of panic and detached from his environment. His behavior management plan consisted of a token economy system and a crisis plan, frequently using 911 for escalated behaviors. When we first started with Robbie, he could only tolerate working in a one-to-one setting in the classroom with a few select staff who were consistent in the behavior management plan. All instruction occurred in the classroom for Robbie initially. All instruction occurred individually due to significant peer aggression. Movement around the classroom was limited due to potential behavior and risk to others. Through the strategies and interventions that we learned through Patton, the first thing we did was we completed a preference assessment for Robbie to see what was motivating and what he would work for. We also did a calculation of his variable rate of reinforcement to determine how much work he could tolerate before problem behavior started. We completed a verbal behavior map, including the barriers assessment, and we immediately started collecting baseline behavioral data. Initial programming was listener response to actions, simple, tact items, manned for items and actions, and motor imitation. We targeted these because on his verbal behavior map, these were skills he already had. So instead of frustrate him further, we started what he knew and built from there so that he could more easily access reinforcement. School would then be compared with positives, and we would have Robbie would have a better school experience. When he came into us, we completed the map in 11-14. He scored a 58.5, and as of this past April, he scored 110.5. We completed the barriers assessment, and when he came in, he scored a 31, and in April, he scored a 12. The number one barrier was his problem behavior. This is Robbie's data when he came to us. It was pretty consistent with what was reported to us. This is just one of the data sheets of duration, which lasted up to 100 minutes per day. Again, we started with an immediate escape extinction procedure. We then moved into an accepting no procedure, and then we moved into a wait procedure. And again, having data and having these interventions, we know exactly when to switch from one intervention to another. Progress is noted. We make a change. The current year data, as you can see, after the wait procedure, started to really decrease, and his behaviors improved across all school settings. They also improved at home and in his daycare center. And as of December of 2015, we were able to discontinue his behavior plan. Today, Robbie no longer has a formal behavior plan. He can now work with all staff in the classroom. He can participate in group activities. He can participate in dyadic instruction. He can now be with peers in the presence of peers without any physical aggression. Robbie assists with jobs in the classroom, the cafeteria, and is responsible for checking the teacher's mailbox. Robbie has daily access to same-age peers and opportunity to socialize with them now outside the classroom. And this is Robbie now.
Tree? Good job. Robbie, touch your head. Good. Show me jumping. Nice jumping. So then go on your back.
that's our Robbie. So, the strategies and interventions that we've learned through Patton and through the ABA-supported classroom, we're now using them in our life skills classrooms, in our multiple disability classrooms, in our emotional support classrooms. Not all of them, but errorless teaching and error correction procedures and weighting and things like that. So the change at Elanco has been amazing, not only for us, the surrounding community. So that's our story.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Calvecchio. I am the proud Director of Pupil Services for the Chester Upland School District. I am very happy to be here talking to you today about one of my passions in life, which is this work. I'm also aware that I'm the last person to speak before everyone gets on the long ride home, so I'm going to give you guys a brief explanation of what we do in our district. So it looks like we only have about an hour and 45 minutes of my 2-hour presentation. So sit tight. To give you guys an explanation of where we've been, this is the start of my 4th year in our district, and I'd like to paint a picture as to why I'm here before the start of year 4 as opposed to the start of year 2. On my first day in the school district at Chester Upland, we had 333 out of compliance IEP documents. We had 48 active due process complaints, and we had over 200 students in out of district placements. We also had a seminal court case for special education from our district, and we were continually in the top 5 of the most dangerous cities in America. 100% of our students receive free and reduced lunch, and I'm not even going to offer up our scores in SPP. What I will offer, though, is hopefully some hope throughout our journey to show that despite any challenges, you can show success. Since we've arrived at Chester Upland School District, we have had 100% in our child count for the last 3 years. We currently have 0 active due process cases. We've lowered our LRE percentage for the first time in 20 years. And we've had a cyclical monitoring for the first time in 7 years, which I think went really well. We'll find out next week. We fixed relationships with outside agencies such as OVR, OID, and Patton, which is why I'm here today. And we've committed to creating great programs within our district and our natural environment for our students. To that end, we had 14 students this year working out in our communities earning a paycheck, of which I'm not naive enough to think that that paycheck isn't helping in those households. We also, last week in this very room, had a parent and a student from our autistic support class in the high school present at the transition conference on his part-time job working at the hospital and learning how to ride the bus back and forth by himself. We also offer hope through our classroom teachers, which I'm going to mention one today, Ms. Heather Jordan, who's watching at home with her students and staff. Hi, Heather. Hope for our students and our teachers who often come to work not knowing if they're going to get paid. Before that, let's look at our district. In 2016, we had 5 classrooms supported by the initiative that touched 37 students. And our hope is for next year to expand to 9 and reach 83 students. That number's a little high if you're crunching numbers because we're going to venture into the life skills support area next year as well. But it has been quite a journey to get here. I previously mentioned Heather Jordan. We're going to talk about her classroom. In year 1, her score for site review was 17. Okay? Her classroom was plagued by a dysfunctional staff who had unclear roles and responsibilities. Would often say, that's not my job, or not put the needs of students first. So we got to work and we told ourselves that we were going to change as a district. I'll show a video here about the good stuff and let you see some of our beautiful students while I talk about the disruptive plan of change that we implemented in our district. Step 1 of our disruptive plan involved courageous conversations, particularly with staff. We had staff meetings with the patent consultants. Mike Miklos himself came down, and we talked about student outcomes. And we talked courageously, and we talked about what was best for the students in our district. We also took a hard look at staffing and decided which teachers were best to teach in front of our students with autism. We rethought training. I personally took over this initiative 2 years ago and sent myself and all of our teacher leaders to boot camp. We made a change at internal coach, with Mr. Jim Nielsen, who's here in the audience today. And we took a hard look at professional development, taking autistic support teachers off the island, providing autistic support specific training for all of our teachers in K-12 where they could share best practice, internal modeling, and specific trainings where they could get better, often with the help of the patent trainers. And that was our initiative. And I'll show you on the next slide where her score was in year 2. So year 2, the site review score was 60. And we were really happy with that. We had an engaged and supportive staff. We had clear roles and responsibilities. We put students first. And we said, although it was not my job, we'll still work together to work it out. And our site review score went from 17 to 60 as one, for one classroom. If you'll allow me a chance to show just another quick clip about the importance of winning staff over and providing initiatives and incentives for staff as well as students. You'll see the title there, Alan Logan, PCA Legend, and that's not even a good enough title for him. This is a victory of no small amount. If anyone's had the luxury of having the staff PCAs in programs, Mr. Logan will hopefully stand out as a legend in his own right, especially when we talk about his data. So listen closely to his feedback about his classroom and his experience with his student.
My name is Alan Logan. I work for the Chesapeake School District. I'm a PCA, and I work in an autistic support program. And the program has helped my student this year learn the denominations of money, how to fold clothes, how to hang clothes, how to separate silverware, and how to count, and how to separate zip codes.
How about what you like the best about the data? I know nobody messes with your data, right?
No, nobody messes with my data. I keep my data straight. My ADLs is ran every day. I chart them every day at the end of the day so that everything is perfect when it comes time to be checked.
My man, thank you.
So because Mr. Logan's data was tight and nobody messes with his data, it's important to show just a little bit of how well that data showed out in the classroom. So we'll do a quick case study of one student. We'll call him KJ. He's a 16-year-old male. And please note that we're emerging and developing in our program, so we're talking about level 1 and beginning of interventions with VB-MAP. Before the intervention, his problem behavior baseline was 25 per day, hitting and screaming. Because of lack of instructional control, we could have no tacks or matches, and he had 0 ADLs mastered. Here's a quick look at his first map. Here's after our intervention. Problem behavior reduction to 6 per day. Has mastered 23 tacks, 15 matches, and 2 ADLs. And this came at no small feat as well. We talked about properly incentivizing not just staff but students. I told the staff in this classroom and the teacher that if they could double their score on their site review this year, they could do whatever they like to embarrass me. And before I show you what they did, it's important to know the high school that is within my district is maybe one of the toughest high schools that you could probably imagine. And I'm just going to throw that out there. But we'll look at KJ's second round of MAP 2 just to show his growth before we show the importance of properly incentivizing his staff. And I'll also point out that this doesn't cost too much money to do things like this, to have courageous leadership and to be a servant leader. And I'll leave you with this. Thank you guys for your time.
No, that's the end of the conference here. Talk about courageous, these 4 people, leadership is what it takes. They're leaders, everyone. Thank you. And Alan, if you're watching, you're my hero too, buddy. All right. I think that, as everyone here knows, reinforcement works. And sometimes reinforcement involves getting to do something novel, like leave this convention hall. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you, everybody. Please be safe going home. Let me give you the code. It is LIP288. And go out there and do your best for the individuals and kids you serve. Thank you.